Hey, Mavs fans, training camp is just around the corner on September 28th, and I want to reach 15,000 subscribers here on this channel before that begins. We're just 126 away. If you want more Mavericks news, rumors, and much more videos, be sure to hit that subscribe button. It's 100% free. More subscribers means we can do more videos for you guys. Frank Ntilikina has officially signed, so let's dive into that news and a juicy rumor as well. You're watching Dallas Mavericks Today. I am Harrison Graham, catching you guys up on the latest Mavericks news and rumors here on a Friday. And let's start with the news of the day, or really the last 24 hours or so, as Frank Ntilikina is officially a Dallas Maverick. They announced this on Thursday that the deal was official. Now, Mark Stein tweeted really just a few minutes ago that the deal is a 2-year deal with a player option for the second season. I don't know if there's any guaranteed money for this first year. I would assume it's at least a partially guaranteed contract for year one, as now the Mavs training camp roster is set at 20. 3 players will get cut. 2 players will be on the two-way, and then the 15 active everyday players, which I'm not convinced Frank Ntilikina has earned that yet. I think he will have to earn a final roster spot, especially when you look at last year on a good but not great Knicks team, only getting 9.8 minutes per game, did not shoot the ball well. He did shoot it well from 3, although it was on a small sample size. I think it was like 95 to 100 threes or so, so a little more than a 1 per game. I do like that 48%, but I think on higher volume that number would dip, but could you be around 40? If so, that would be very, very nice. Here's what I know. Dallas loved Frank Ntilikina in the 2017 NBA draft. They were likely going to draft him over Dennis Smith Jr., depending on what the Knicks did in front of them. They opted to draft Ntilikina, so Dallas settled for DSJ, and quite frankly, neither picks ended up working out that well. Ntilikina was okay for New York the last few years. We know DSJ flamed out and has bounced around since being traded to the Knicks back just a few years ago, but the Mavs have had their eye on Ntilikina for several years now, and so now, fast forward 4 years later, they have him on their training camp roster. We'll see if he ends up making this basketball team. Grade the signing for me. A, B, C, D, or F. Remember, 2-year deal with a team option on the second year, so I would guess little to no guaranteed money overall. A, B, C, D, or F. I don't know. It's a B minus. It's cheap. He's a good defender, but overall, until we see him play, can't really give too much thoughts. Let us know how you feel about the Ntilikina deal. You look at the roster bubble now, and I really think it's going to be down to these 3 guys, because Farron Hunt and Carlik Jones, they will get cut, so that'll get you down to 18 guys. E.J. Omarui and Ja'Cory McLaughlin will be on the 2-way deal, so that gets you down to 16. That means you got to cut one more player, and I think it's going to be one of these guys: Trey Burke, Frank Ntilikina, or Tyrell Terry. I think Trey Burke could be in trouble. I really do. I think, he came off a bad year last year. Has never been a great defender, made some poor decisions when he did play last year, got a lot of DNPs, especially down the stretch. I think Frank Ntilikina brings clearly a lot more defensively, and if he can become a somewhat consistent shooter, he's just got more upside at 6'4", 200, whereas Burke, he's a nice, offensive type of player, but he's a flamethrower. He's very boom or bust, and last year he busted more often as a scorer than the other way around. So I think Burke could be on the bubble. I think Tyrell Terry is going to have to prove a lot as well, especially with all the personal issues he had last year, which caused him to miss most of the season. So who do you guys think gets cut? Type B for Trey Burke, type N for Frank Ntilikina, type T for Tyrell Terry. By the way, shout out to the Dallas Knicks. They now have 5 former New York Knicks players, which I don't know if that's a good thing or not. But let us know. Maybe they cut one of them in Ntilikina or Burke. Or if you think it's Tyrell Terry, you can go ahead and type your T. Now, BetUS is sponsoring today's show. Shout out to them. And if you want to make money throughout the NFL and the NBA season, NBA almost here, go to chatsports.com/MFFL. Got to use our link in a separate tab. Open it up, chatsports.com/MFFL. Use the promo code MFFL. That's going to get you that 125% deposit bonus. Put down $100. They'll give you $125 for free at sign up. And hey, you can go bet on the Cowboys or against them this week, depending on how you're feeling. Chargers 3-point favorites at home, but we know a lot of Dallas fans will be there. The over-under at 55.5. I think that's really high. My betting advice for this game: bet the under. I think 55 1.5 is a huge number in the NFL. Chatsports.com/MFFL. Use that promo code MFFL to get that 125% deposit bonus. Let's talk rumors now. John Wall, could the Mavs trade for him? Not really. We'll talk about a little background info here, then we will kind of talk about a more realistic path to eventually getting Wall, maybe, if the Mavericks were interested in him. So the Rockets and Wall have agreed to facilitate his future to a new team because they're rebuilding around their young nucleus coming off the NBA draft. However, a buyout is not expected at this point, and let's be clear. The Mavs cannot afford to trade for John Wall's contract. Here's what Shams Charania had to say in his report, saying, quote, sources said that there are no buyout plans on the 2 years and $91.7 million remaining on Wall's contract, including a $47.4 million player option for the 2022-2023 season. So he's got 2 years and $91.7 million, including $47 million on a player option next year. He'd be stupid to not opt into that. So a couple of thoughts here. Number one, you can't trade for that contract. Number two, good luck finding a trade if you're the Houston Rockets and John Wall. That being said, we've seen huge contracts get dealt before, even for no longer elite players, with John Wall is not elite anymore coming off that Achilles. He's still a good player, but he's not an elite player. I think this is going to be a tough task for Houston to try and move him to another team. Maybe a team like Oklahoma City takes him if you throw him another first-round pick, but it's not going to be easy. Here's what I want to know, because John Wall, I believe, is the highest-paid player in the NBA this year. If not, he's in the top 5. Does John Wall have the worst contract in the NBA? Type Y for yes, type in for no. I think it's pretty bad, so I'm probably going to type my Y for yes, but let us know what you guys think on this one. That being said, I'm definitely going to monitor this situation around Wall because I'm not convinced that Houston's going to be able to move him via trade. So what if around the trade deadline that comes and goes and John Wall doesn't get traded because no one wants that contract? Does he agree to a buyout at that point? Obviously, he doesn't want to turn down $91 million, but maybe he agrees to shelf half of that. The Rockets eat half, and he agrees to sacrifice half, and then he becomes a free agent. At that point, I would have some interest in signing him because he's still a solid player, almost 21 points a game last year, 7 assists. He's never been a great shooter, just 40% last year. He's never been a great three-point shooter either, but I still believe a buyout could happen, and if a buyout did happen, I would have some interest. I think he's still fairly electric in the open court. I think he would give you a nice, secondary type of playmaker. Maybe you could make him, a super sixth man, and he could run your second-team offense. I think there's a lot of things you could do with John Wall, but at $91 million over 2 years, number one, the Mavs can't afford it, and number two, that is an awful contract, even if they could afford him for what he brings to the table at this point in his career. So those are kind of my thoughts on John Wall. Let me know, would you sign him if he gets bought out? Type S for sign, type P for pass. Get your votes in. Would you sign John Wall if he eventually were to get bought out? And if he does get signed by the Mavericks, we will cover it here on this channel. It's youtube.com/MavsTV. Remember, training camp is almost here. We'll have you guys covered on that. Plus, if we get to 15,000 subs by then, we'll be able to do more videos. So subscribe. It's completely free, and we'll see you next time here on Dallas Mavericks Today.